Greetings, YouTube audience. A while ago, as you may know, there was a debate between Bill Craig and Lawrence Krauss. And since that time, there has been some discussion on the part of Bill Craig, Lawrence Krauss himself, and others uh, as to the debate. And I made a video before with a couple of observations. I've got a third observation that I'd like to add into the mix. Now, I'm not sure if Bill Craig has intentionally picked people to debate in the past that are fairly irrational. Or what, but looking over some of the comments, excuse me, looking over some of the comments that Lawrence Krauss made after the debate, I noticed, I was reminded of something which I noticed before, and that is that the people that William Lane Craig debates seem to have a grudge against logic, against reason, against rationality. And the ironic thing about this is that the skeptics, such as Craig may debate, would be the ones who would tend to say that Christians are irrational. Some skeptics have said that. But it seems that in the debates that I've seen with Craig, the shoe is on the other foot. Now, the reason for this seeming antagonism towards logic, I'm not sure where that comes from. More specifically, towards the classical or Aristotelian logic, or the syllogism. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. That's a textbook example of a syllogism. And people oftentimes don't seem to like that kind of an argument in debates between William Lane Craig and others, whomever he's debating for a skeptic. So I think one possibility for why this is would be that excuse me, that logic in the contemporary world has superseded Aristotelian logic, and the modern logic has gone beyond Aristotle. That's one possibility. Sometimes people will say that Aristotle's approach was not very good, and we came along to rescue the day. But I don't think that's the right way of looking at it. I think that what Aristotle had was good insofar as it went, and it hasn't been contradicted by modern logic. It's just been extended by further developments. And that's what we find in all areas of inquiry, that Plato, for example, in philosophy, may have said some things that were true, but then they were further refined as time went on. The same could be said in science. Even history, in a sense, expands as more data comes in. So everything and research methods are refined, and so on and so forth. So every discipline, even theology, will develop over time. It's not static, it's dynamic. Another possibility may be that there does seem to be a certain inordinate attraction in our epistemological landscape of towards scientism. There are a lot of people that seem to, maybe without even having thought about it, seem to embrace scientism. Lawrence Krauss, in this debate, I think, denied that he was a scientist, a scientismist, I should say. Um, but the other comments that he made seem to go against this. So that's a second possibility. It could be scientism. A third possibility may be a certain illiteracy that there is in academia, in the scholarly world, uh, of logic. Now, people that study mathematics, perhaps people in philosophy, those fields do certainly study logic, teach logic, learn logic, but the general population in public schools, including higher education in colleges, um, in high school, college, grammar school, graduate school, it seems that if a person is not going into logic or philosophy or mathematics, that they really don't learn logic. So they don't really have any formal training in that, um, and perhaps they just take it for granted that the sort of common sense reasoning that they use is what logic is. But if you actually go and look at different fallacies and the proper rules of inference, deductions, and so on, then you would be in a better position to appreciate the power and the beauty and the utility of logic. Um, so those are three ideas. There could be others as well. And by the way, the third one really kind of gets into what Lewis was talking about, C.S. Lewis, when he was speaking of men without chests, men without a heart, if you will, not an emotional heart, uh, like feeling cold towards people, but men that don't have a sense of the objective uh, things that come to us from God, uh, morality, aesthetics, uh, the true, the good, the beautiful, and uh, the, the, this idea kind of goes back to, I think, Nietzsche as well. Nietzsche's madman parable. The death of God should have certain consequences. Uh, it is inconsistent for a person to kill God, if you will, but then go through his pockets before throwing the body over into the over the bridge into the water. So there's certain things that are at home within a Christian worldview that are not at home within an atheistic worldview. Uh, and one example perhaps would be logic. How do we know that we can trust our brains if they evolved in a naturalistic universe which is geared towards not truth but to survival? Um, so that would be a fourth possibility of why um, people may not be too keen on logic. Of course, there are atheistic logicians and atheistic people that are reasonable, uh, but I'm just saying that there has been a tendency um, in the wake of the death of God uh, to get rid of these transcendent values that we have, including a grasp of reason. Um, so I'm not sure how clear I'm being there, but you can read The Abolition of Man by C.S. Lewis for more information about that. An excellent book. I highly recommend. Probably the most important book that Lewis wrote, even more important than the Mere Christianity and the Screwtape Letters. The Abolition of Man. But I just thought I'd throw that out to you there seems to be an ironic kind of distancing of people that are debating William Lane Craig in many of his debates, where they will kind of turn up their noses to syllogisms, to formal logic, to deductive reasoning. And there could be many reasons for that, but it does seem to be something that is occurring, and I'd like to hear why you think that is, or if you think that that is not the case, that people are not being anti-reason that are debating Craig. Some of the people that are debating Craig. I don't want to say that that's universal in all his debates, but it does seem to be the case in a majority of them. If you think that sense that I have, that there is an anti-reason on the part of the skeptics that he is debating, you can explain that as well. But in any case, by all means comment on this video, and I look forward to carrying on the dialogue with you. And thanks for watching, and shalom.